What if I told you there is a country where no point on land is more than 78 miles from the ocean, yet it has a coastline longer than India's? What if I told you a 12-year-old girl found a fossil that changed science forever, and that beneath the waves between Britain and Europe lies a drowned continent where Stone Age hunters once chased mammoths? From vanished land masses to exploding tides, from mile-deep lochs that never freeze to cliffs made of 1 billion tiny fossils. These are 50 mind-blowing geography facts about the United Kingdom that will completely change how you see this small island nation. The United Kingdom. Most people think they know it. London, tea, castles, rain, but scratch the surface and you will find one of the most geographically bizarre places on Earth. This is a land carved by glaciers, shaped by volcanoes, and surrounded by some of the most violent seas on the planet. It is a place where ancient stone columns rise from the ocean in perfect hexagons, where entire rivers flow beneath city streets, and where islands lie closer to Norway than to their own capital. The geography of the UK is not just interesting, it is a masterclass in how nature, time, and human history collide to create something truly extraordinary. Fact 50. No escape. Let's start with something that defines Britain to its core. No single point in the entire United Kingdom is more than 78 miles from the ocean. The furthest spot from the coast is a village called Coton in the Elms in Derbyshire, and even that is only 70 miles inland. To put that in perspective, you could drive from the dead centre of Britain to a beach in under 2 hours. The sea is everywhere, shaping the weather, the culture, and the very identity of this island nation. Fact 49th. A coastline longer than a continent's. Here is where it gets wild. Despite being 30 times smaller than India, the United Kingdom has a longer coastline. Britain's jagged, fractured shores stretch over 7,700 miles. And that is not even counting the 6,289 islands scattered around it. The coastline is so convoluted, so endlessly indented with bays, sea lochs, and inlets that it defies easy measurement. This extreme geography creates thousands of sheltered harbours, dramatic cliffs, and some of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Fact 48. The tide that swallows buildings. The Bristol Channel, the body of water between Wales and southwest England, has the second highest tidal range in the entire world. At certain times of the year, the water rises and falls between 40 and 50 feet. That's the height of a 5-story building. Only the Bay of Fundy in Canada is higher. The channel's funnel shape squeezes Atlantic water into a narrowing gap, amplifying the tides into something almost violent. Fact 47. You can surf a river. Those massive tides create something else, the Severn E. It's one of the largest tidal bores on the planet, a wave that races upstream at 13 miles per hour, reaching heights of over 9 feet. Surfers ride it for miles, gliding inland on a single wave that just keeps going. It happens over 260 times a year, turning a quiet river into a surging, backwards tsunami. Fact 46. Cliffs made of 1 billion skeletons. The white cliffs of Dover are not just pretty, they are a graveyard. Every inch of those gleaming white walls is made from the fossilized shells of trillions of microscopic algae called coccolithophores. These tiny organisms died and sank to the ocean floor 70 to 100 million years ago, slowly piling up into layers hundreds of feet thick. Today, those cliffs stand as a visible record of an ancient ocean. They rise 350 feet above the sea, visible from France on a clear day. These are the cliffs that stay white by falling apart. Here's the twist. The white cliffs only stay white because they are constantly crumbling. Where coastal defences have been built, like around Dover Harbour, the cliffs turn green with vegetation. But along the natural sections, thousands of tons of chalk collapse every year, exposing fresh, brilliant white rock. It is a coastline that literally refreshes itself through destruction. Stone Age mines in the cliffs. Embedded in the chalk are dark bands of flint, a type of stone formed from the silica skeletons of ancient sponges. Neolithic people, over 6,500 years ago, dug deep mines to extract this flint. At Sisbury Ring in Sussex, archaeologists have found 270 mine shafts, some reaching depths of 40 feet. These weren't casual surface collectors. These were organised Stone Age miners running an industrial operation. On England's east coast in Southend-on-Sea stands the Inham, the world's longest pleasure pier. It stretches 1.33 miles into the Thames estuary. That's not a typo. Over 7,000 feet of wooden and iron structure reaching out over the water. It even has its own railway to carry visitors from one end to the other, because walking the full length would take 20 minutes. The longest river you've never heard of. Everyone knows the River Thames. But Britain's longest river is actually the River Severn, cutting through Wales and England for 220 miles. The Thames, for all its fame, comes in second at 215 miles. The Severn starts in the mountains of Wales and ends in that funnel-shaped Bristol Channel. The same geography that creates those monstrous tides. Fact 41. The tallest peak is a collapsed supervolcano. Ben Nevis, at 4,411 feet, is the highest mountain in the British Isles. But it's not just a mountain, it's the eroded remnant. Ben Nevis formed from a massive volcano that erupted around 400 million years ago. The peak collapsed, leaving behind a ring of volcanic rock and a summit plateau roughly 100 acres in size. On a clear day, you can see for 120 miles in every direction. On most days, though, the summit is buried in cloud and mist. From violent tides to ancient volcanoes, we've only scratched the surface. But the geography gets stranger. Up next, a piano on Ben Nevis. A mountaintop, a loch that holds more water than an entire country, and an island so remote its people had to be rescued. Fact 40. The piano at the top of Britain. In 2006, climbers on Ben Nevis discovered something bizarre. Buried under a pile of stones near the summit was a full-sized piano. It had been carried to the top over 20 years earlier by a group of removal men from Dundee as a charity stunt. Someone hauled a 250-pound piano up a 4,400-foot mountain, and they just left it there. It's one of the most British things ever done. The fault line that splits Scotland runs diagonally across the Scottish Highlands, a massive geological scar called the Great Glen Fault. Around 400 million years ago, the entire northern section of Scotland slid 60 miles to the southwest along this fracture. The movement created a deep trench that now holds 3 famous lochs: Loch Lochy, Loch Oich, and the most famous of all, Loch Ness. Fact 38. A loch with more water than England and Wales combined. Loch Ness contains more fresh water than every lake, river, and reservoir in England and Wales put together. It holds 1.8 trillion gallons of water. Despite being only second in surface area and depth among Scottish lochs, its sheer volume is staggering. The loch averages 433 feet deep and stretches 23. It is basically a freshwater fjord carved by glaciers and filled to the brim. Fact 37. You could drown the human race 10 times over. If you wanted to submerge the entire world population, Loch Ness could do it 10 times. Its deepest point, 755 feet, is twice as deep as the average depth of the North Sea. Imagine a body of water so vast and so deep that it sits in the highlands like a cold, dark. The loch that never freezes. Even in the harshest highland winters, when temperatures drop to -4 degrees Fahrenheit, Loch Ness never freezes. The reason is its enormous volume. Cold surface water sinks, warmer water rises, and the circulation prevents ice from forming. Below 100 feet, the temperature stays locked at a constant 42 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Every other loch in Scotland freezes. Loch Ness does not. Water so dark, you disappear. Loch Ness is one of the darkest bodies of water. It's one of the darkest bodies of water in the world. Peat particles from the surrounding hills stain it a deep brown. Underwater visibility is roughly 4 inches. Below 30 feet, it's pitch black. If you wanted to hide something in there, a monster, a shipwreck, a secret, this would be the place. Fact 34. The World War II bomber at the bottom. In 1976, 2 Americans searching for the Loch Ness monster with sonar found something else entirely. A Royal Air Force Wellington bomber had crashed into the loch in 1940. It had been sitting on the bottom, 230 feet down, for 36 years. The plane was eventually raised in 1985 and is now displayed in a museum. The search for Nessie accidentally solved a wartime mystery. Fact 33. A deeper loch you've never heard of. Loch Ness isn't even Scotland's deepest. That title belongs to Loch Moura, which plunges to 1,017 feet. That's 80 feet deeper than Loch Ness and deep enough to completely swallow the Shard, London's tallest building. Loch Moura is remote, eerie, and has its own monster legend, but it's Loch Ness that gets all the fame. Fact 32. 30,000 hidden lakes. Scotland has an estimated 30,000 lochs. A survey between 1897 and 1909 mapped 562 of the largest ones, covering a combined area of 340 square miles. These lochs hold over 7 cubic miles of fresh water. The landscape is so saturated with water that from space, Scotland looks more blue than green. Fact 31. Stone older than complex life. In the Northwest Highlands and on the Outer Hebrides, you'll find some of the oldest rocks in Europe. The Louisian gneiss is over 2.7 billion years old. These stones formed when the Earth's surface was an alien wasteland, long before plants, animals, or even oxygen filled the atmosphere. Walking on them is like standing on the raw fabric of deep time. If you think ancient rocks are impressive, wait until you see what happens when a volcano builds a staircase to the sea. From lost continents to frozen time, the next set of facts will take you deeper into Britain's hidden past. On the northern coast of Northern Ireland stands one of the most surreal geological formations on Earth, the Giant's Causeway. It is made of roughly 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, most of them hexagonal, rising like a staircase from the sea. Natural honeycomb from the ocean. They formed 60 million years ago, when lava cooled so slowly it cracked into near-perfect geometric shapes. Fact 29. The causeway that ended a scientific war. In the late 1700s, geologists were locked in a bitter debate. Did basalt form from volcanoes, or from minerals precipitating out of seawater. The Giant's Causeway became the key evidence. Its hexagonal perfection and sheer scale proved that basalt is volcanic. The causeway didn't just shape the coast, it shaped the science of geology itself. An identical twin, 90 miles away. Off the west coast of Scotland lies the island of Staffa, home to Fingal's Cave. Inside the cave, you will find the exact same basalt columns as the Giant's Causeway. Same hexagons, same age, same volcanic origin. The two sites are 90 miles apart, but they were formed by the colossal volcanic event that tore Europe and North America apart. The cave's natural acoustics inspired Mendelssohn to write this Hebrides Overture. Fact 27. Islands closer to Norway than to England. The Shetland Islands are the northernmost point of the United Kingdom, sitting 110 miles off the Mayo off the Scottish mainland. But here is the thing, they are closer to Norway than they are to Aberdeen. Shetland is only 210 miles from Bergen. For over 600 years, these islands belonged to Norway. Their culture, their dialect, even their annual fire festival are all rooted in Viking heritage, not British. History. Fact 26. The islands that were pawned and never redeemed. Orkney and Shetland only became Scottish in 1468 and 1469, and not through conquest. King Christian I of Denmark and Norway needed cash for his daughter's dowry, so he pawned the islands to Scotland for 58,000 florins. The money was never paid back. The islands were never reclaimed. A debt turned into a border. Fact 25. 4 extra hours of sunlight in summer. Because Shetland sits at 60 degrees north, its summer days are outrageously long. In June, Lerwick gets 4 more hours of daylight than London. The sun barely sets. The locals call it the simmer dim, when twilight just rolls into dawn without ever getting fully dark. In winter, though, it is the opposite. 4 fewer hours of light than southern England, and the darkness is relentless. Cliffs made of time. Along the southern coast of England, between Dorset and Devon, lies the Jurassic coast. It is England's only natural UNESCO World Heritage Site. With over 95 miles of coastline, you can walk through 185 million years of Earth's history. The rocks at one end are from the Triassic period. Walk east and you move through the Jurassic and into the Cretaceous. It is a timeline written in stone, constantly being rewritten by erosion. Fact 23. The 12-year-old who rewrote paleontology. In 1811, a girl named Mary Anning found something extraordinary on the beach at Lyme Regis. She was 12 years old. What she discovered was the first complete skeleton of an ichthyosaur, a marine reptile that lived 200 million years ago. Over her lifetime, she found the first plesiosaur and the first pterosaur fossils in Britain. She came from poverty, had no formal education, and was often denied credit by male scientists. But her discoveries helped prove that species could go extinct, a revelation that influenced Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, a drowned land between two countries. Beneath the North Sea, between Britain and mainland Europe, lies Doggerland. 8,000 years ago, it was dry land, a vast lowland plain the size of Iceland. Stone Age people lived there, hunting red deer and gathering shellfish. Then the glaciers melted, the sea rose 400 feet. Doggerland vanished beneath the waves. Today, fishing trawlers still pull up Stone Age tools and mammoth bones from the seabed. The most remote inhabited place in Britain is St Kilda, 64 kilometres west of the Outer Hebrides, beyond the edge of the map. It is a cluster of sea stacks and cliffs so remote and so harsh. The last 36 residents had to be evacuated in 1930. They had lived there for centuries, surviving on seabirds harvested from 1,400-foot cliffs. The cliffs are the tallest in Britain, and over 1 million seabirds nest there today. St Kilda is a UNESCO World Heritage Site for both its natural environment and its lost human culture, just when you think you've seen it. Still, Britain finds a way to surprise you: a rock in the middle of the ocean, a piano on a peak, and energy that could power a nation 10 times over. Stay with me. The final facts are the wildest yet. A rock claimed by 4 countries, 460 kilometers west of Scotland, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, sits a lonely granite spike called Rockall. It is 70 feet tall, 80 feet wide, and completely barren. No soil, no Rockall soil, no water, no life. And yet, it is claimed by UK Ireland, Iceland, and Denmark. It is too small to live on, but it sits in waters potentially rich with oil and fish. Geopolitics over a rock, the exact centre of Britain, is disputed. Where is the geographic centre of Great Britain? No one agrees. Holtwhistle in Northumberland claims it, so does Dunsop Bridge in Lancashire. Both have plaques, both have arguments. The truth is, it depends on how you calculate it. Mean centre, centre of gravity? Either way, 2 small towns are locked in a forever rivalry over being the middle of nowhere. Fact 18. The 4 extremes you have never visited. North is Dunnet Head in Scotland, not John O'Groats. South is Lizard Point in Cornwall. East is Loch Ness in Suffolk, where the sun rises first. West is Ardna Merchant Point in Scotland. These places are wild, wind-battered, and almost never photographed. The famous landmarks got the attention. The real extremes got forgotten. Fact 17. You can see France from England. On a clear day, standing on the white cliffs of Dover, you can see the coast of France 21 miles away. It is the narrowest point of the English Channel. Beneath your feet, 250 feet under the seabed, runs the Channel Tunnel. 2 nations connected by rock, separated by water, linked by engineering. Fact 16. Oil from a drowned forest. The North Sea, which swallowed Doggerland, also gave Britain something back. In the 1960s, massive oil and gas fields were discovered beneath the seabed. For decades, North Sea oil powered Britain's economy. Aberdeen became the oil capital of Europe. Hundreds of platforms rose from the water, extracting the fossilized remains of ancient forests and plankton. Energy from deep time. Fact 15. A wind farm on a sunken continent. Today, on the shallow banks where Doggerland once stood, the world's largest offshore wind farm is being built, the Dogger Bank. Wind farm will generate 3.6 gigawatts of electricity, enough to power 6 million homes. Where Stone Age hunters once tracked aurochs, wind turbines now harvest the Atlantic gale. History has come full circle. All right, quick pause. If these facts have completely changed how you see the UK, do me a favour and hit that like button. And if you want more geography that blows your mind, subscribe. Because we have 10 more facts, and they are going to leave you speechless. Fact 14. Enough wave power to run the country 11 times. Britain's coastline is battered by some of the most consistent waves in the world. Scientists estimate that the UK has the theoretical potential to generate 3,538 terawatt-hours of energy per year from wave power alone. That is 11 times the nation's total electricity consumption. The power is there, crashing against the rocks every single day. Wave power. We just haven't figured out how to fully harness it yet. Fact 13. the tide could power 10% of the grid. Britain's extreme tides aren't just for show. Tidal stream energy could provide up to 11% of the United Kingdom's electricity, around 11.5 gigawatts of capacity. The Severn estuary alone, with its 50-foot tidal range, could host a massive tidal barrage generating 8.6 gigawatts. It would be one of the largest renewable energy projects on Earth, turning the tide itself into a battery. Fact 12. A population density that defies logic. With over 69 million people crammed into 94,000 square miles, the UK has a population density of around 730 people per square mile. England alone is over 1,000 people per square mile. If the entire United States had the same density as the UK, the American population would be over 4 billion people. That's how tightly packed this island is, and yet it still has coastlines, empty moors and forests that feel untouched. Fact 11. 80% of the planet's northern gannets breed on British coastlines. Britain's cliffs are a seabird sanctuary. Bass Rock in Scotland holds over 150,000 nesting gannets, turning the entire island white. Puffins, guillemots, razorbills and kittiwakes crowd onto narrow ledges. These cliffs aren't just geography, they're one of the most important seabird nurseries on Earth. Fact 10. Rivers run beneath your feet. London has over 20 lost rivers: the Fleet, the Tyburn, the Walbrook, the Westbourne. In the 18th and 19th centuries, these rivers were buried, diverted into sewers and built over, but they still flow, hidden beneath streets and tube stations. At Sloane Square Underground, you can see a steel pipe carrying the River Westbourne directly over the platform. The city swallowed its own waterways. Britain has exactly one venomous snake, the adder. The adder is shy, rarely seen, and its bite, while painful, is almost never fatal. Adders live in heathlands, moors and sand dunes. They are relics of a time when Britain was connected to Europe and supported a far wider range of reptiles. Today, the adder is all that is left, a small, cold-blooded survivor in a land of rain and fog. Fact 8. Purple mountains in late summer. Every August and September, the Yorkshire moors and Scottish highlands explode in colour. Millions. Heather plants bloom simultaneously, turning entire hillsides deep violet and pink. It is one of Britain's most iconic natural spectacles, and it only happens because of careful land management. Controlled burning keeps the heather dominant, creating a purple carpet that stretches for miles. There are marine giants in British waters. Over 20 species of whales and dolphins live in or migrate through UK waters. Minke whales cruise the Scottish coast in summer. Bottlenose dolphins hunt off Cornwall. A small pod of orcas patrols the Hebrides. Humpback whales have been spotted breaching off the west coast. For a small island nation, Britain punches far above its weight in marine megafauna. Fact 6. Seals by the 100,000. The UK is home to around 40% of the world's grey seal population. They haul out onto remote beaches in Orkney, the Farne Islands and North Norfolk, where they give birth to fluffy white pups every autumn. Harbour seals, smaller and rounder, share the same coastlines if you visit. If you hit the right beach at the right time, you'll find hundreds of seals, staring back at you like a confused, whiskered audience. Fact 5. An eruption that built a nation. 60 million years ago, as Europe and North America tore apart, a chain of volcanoes erupted along the rift. The Giant's Causeway in Staffa, the Isle of Skye. These were not random. They were part of the North Atlantic Igneous Province, a colossal volcanic event that reshaped the geology of the Northern Hemisphere. The Atlantic Ocean was born in fire, and Britain still carries the scars. The people of St Kilda, that impossibly remote island 40 miles beyond the Hebrides, spoke a unique Gaelic dialect. They lived in stone huts called cleats. They harvested seabirds from terrifying cliffs and survived in total isolation for centuries. When the last 36 residents were evacuated in 1930, they left behind over 1,400 cleats, a ghost village frozen in time. Today, St Kilda is uninhabited, except for military personnel and a million screaming seabirds. A tunnel through time. The Channel Tunnel is not just an engineering marvel, it is a journey through geology. As the tunnel descends beneath the seabed, it cuts through 100 million years of sedimentary rock, chalk from the Cretaceous, clay from the Jurassic. Every meter drilled is a step further into Earth's past. Passengers travelling from England to France are unknowingly moving through the same rock layers that built the White Cliffs. Britain is still sinking and rising. The UK is not stable geologically. Since the last ice age ended 10,000 years ago, Scotland has been slowly rising, while southern England sinks. The weight of ice once pressed Scotland down. Now, relieved of that burden, the land is rebounding. Meanwhile, the south tilts downward. The process is called isostatic rebound, and it is still happening today. Scotland gains a few millimeters per year. The south loses them. Fact 1. A nation defined by water. More than anything, the UK is a product of the sea. No point is far from it. Its weather is ruled by it. Its history, from Viking raids to the Spanish Armada to the naval empire, was written on it. The tide rises 50 feet, waves batter cliffs, lost rivers run beneath streets, and somewhere offshore beneath the cold North Sea lies a drowned world that was once home. Britain is not just surrounded by water, it is made by water. And there you have it. 50 geography facts about the United. These facts prove the United Kingdom is not just a small island nation. It's a collision of deep time, violent geology, and human endurance. From the heights of Ben Nevis to the depths of Loch Ness, from vanished continents to the cliffs that never stop falling, the UK is a masterclass in how geography shapes everything. Which fact changed how you see Britain? Drop a comment and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more geography that completely rewrites the map. More than anything, the UK is a product of the sea, water. No point is far from it. Its weather is ruled by it. Its history, from Viking raids to the Spanish Armada to the naval empire, was written on it. The tide rises 50 feet. Waves batter cliffs. Lost rivers run beneath streets. And somewhere offshore, beneath the cold North Sea, lies a drowned world that was once home. Britain is not just surrounded by water, it is